right, Tom, let's get into that salary cap. What's going to happen this offseason with the Cowboys cap?
So, unlike recent years, the Cowboys actually do have a little bit of flexibility when it comes to their salary cap. Now, the projected cap right now for the Cowboys, and this could change a little bit depending on what the exact number for next year's NFL cap comes in. It's not quite set in stone here. The big thing for me here for the Dallas Cowboys is $187 million, which fluctuates for each and every team depending on how much they roll over.
Yep.
Cowboys not rolling over that much money, but as they sit right now, Cowboys have their salary cap $167 million.
For the 2018 season.
Yes. What this means is they've got $20 million in projected room for next year. That does not include players not under contract like a DeMarcus Lawrence, so he's not factored in there.
Right.
It does include the dead money, players who have been cut in years past that are still counting on the cap for this year. Romo has a little bit of dead money left on his contract as well. Now, one other thing you'll see mentioned as we discuss some of the players who could be cut is you'll see the phrase post-June 1st cut. What that means is it allows the Cowboys to move the dead money left on a player's contract into the next year. So if a player has $8 million in dead money left on their contract, they can take that $8 million and split it with $4 this year and $4 next year. The way that guaranteed money works, Brett, is that it is spread out across the lifetime of the contract. And if there's a 4-year deal with $16 million in guaranteed money, there's at least a $4 million cap hit for each year. If a player is cut 2 years into that deal, all of the left guaranteed money is accelerated on to the end of the contract. So that's what the dead money and the post-June 1st stuff is there. So just keep those kind of phrases in mind as we go through these players.
All right, we are going to take a look at potential cap cuts that the Cowboys could make to get to that number. All right, let's start off first with Terrance Williams. Tom, there's no cap savings to be had with T-Will.
And I wanted to put him on here because we've seen a lot of the comments saying, let's replace Terrance Williams. Here's the issue with that deal. His contract doesn't allow you to move on from him. It's just not feasible. If they outright cut him, it is a net loss of $2 million. So his cap hit is just under $5 million. If the Cowboys cut him, that jumps to $6.75 million, which means you're losing an extra $2 million to not have him on your roster. And even then, if you make him a post-June 1st cut, it's the same amount of money. So you would be paying him to not play for the Dallas Cowboys, which doesn't make sense. So Terrance Williams, folks, is going to stay on the Cowboys roster.
There's not much rumor to that one, Tom.
And
that's
no one's
probably
gonna trade
a 4-star.
Yeah,
Terrance Williams,
4 stars,
he's a keeper. He's a keeper. Let's move on to Chaz Green, the left tackle that,
it was bad.
So Cowboys could save roughly $700,000.
So the good news with Chaz Green is there's, I think, a very good chance that what you see is he stays on the roster until training camp. He's not cut in the offseason because you're able to just, it's a low cap hit. That's not gonna make a big difference for you in the end when it comes to adding other players. So Chaz Green, I think, will make the roster beyond the draft, but he will be fighting for a roster spot, and I don't know if he actually gets it, and that would give the Cowboys a little bit more than the vet minimum.
So, Tom, post-June 1 would obviously apply. They can get that cap savings regardless if he makes it into camp.
Yes, so, and in the end, there are a couple players you'll see where there is no post-June 1st designation because they're in the last year of their contract, so you can't push it off because it's only applicable for this coming year.
Yep. We had a comment earlier regarding James Hanna and whether or not he would be a cap casualty. The 6th-round pick in 2012 has a $3.5 million cap hit in 2018. Cowboys could get rid of $2.75 if he were to be a cut.
He's gone.
He's gone.
They will try to trade him, but I think most teams are going to go, you want us to take on a backup tight end for $4 million? No thanks. And the Cowboys will say, well, you know what? We'll take our nearly $3 million in cap savings and go invest that in DeMarcus Lawrence's contract and Zach Martin's extension, something along those lines. We'll keep Jeff Swaim, and then we'll go ahead and promote Rico Gathers and have him take on a bigger role. So fully expect James Hanna to not be on the roster next year. So whoever had that in the comment section, you're exactly right.
All right, James Hanna looks like he could be gone as a cap casualty. Another one here is Benson Mayowa. Very similar numbers for Mayowa to Hanna.
It's almost identical in the end. I think you'll see a similar thing. Maybe the Cowboys look into trading him, but with almost $3 million in cap savings, do you want to pay a guy almost $4 million for a sack and a couple tackles for loss each year? No, you can get that production from a lot of other guys that are much cheaper. So I don't expect Mayowa to be on the roster next year either.
I like Mayowa, and
he's a nice player.
I thought he had a few decent games this year, but you could probably get that production with a third-round draft pick.
You're paying him, you might be able to get it with a fourth-round pick. Or Charles Tapper. And I think that's what you'll see is you'll see Tapper and Taco get more reps as opposed to Benson Mayowa.
If Tapper can stay
healthy.
healthy.
Maybe it changes if the Cowboys, for whatever reason, don't keep DeMarcus Lawrence. But I think you'll see Mayowa get cut and that money go towards Lawrence's contract.
All right, another here on the defensive side of the ball. That's Orlando Scandrick. He gone too, right, Tom?
So $5.3 million left on his contract isn't really that bad for a guy like Scandrick. It's relatively low, and I think that's what does give him some trade value. But I do not think you'll see Scandrick back on the roster next year.
Yeah.
And I think there's twofold. One, you can save $3 million if you cut him. If you make him that post-June 1st cut, you move some of the money into next year. That's some pretty significant savings. The other thing is, unfortunately, as things sit right now at the Cowboys secondary, Orlando Scandrick is now a progress inhibitor. He is now blocking guys like Jordan Lewis, like Chidobe Awuzie, maybe even an Anthony Brown, from getting more reps and getting more playing time. So I do not think we'll see Scandrick back. And we said this a month and a half ago, that we didn't think Scandrick was going to return to the Dallas Cowboys. They will try to trade him. And they will look in every possible fashion to make a trade. They almost did it at the draft last year.
Yep.
They almost whipped him for Kenny Vaccaro, which I would have really liked because I love Vaccaro. He'd be a great fit for the Cowboys. We'll mention him later on in future shows when we talk specific free agents. But I will be stunned if Scandrick is not on the roster next year. And frankly, I expect him to leave.
Yeah, he's more or less accepted it as well. His quotes this week he basically knows that that's going to be the business decision.
He didn't outright say that I'm gone, but he's like, I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it, and it's likely to hear that he is going to leave. And I think he knew when he walked out when he was placed on IR, when he left when he left his locker, I think he knew that was the last time he was ever going to see it in a Cowboys uniform as an active player.
Yeah,
he might retire as a Cowboy.
His quote to 103.3 this week: "I can't worry about something I can't control, but I'd be lying and it'd be foolish if I didn't think about it. It's possible I won't be here next year." So Orlando Scandrick looking pretty likely that he will not be a Cowboy next year. Let's talk about Cole Beasley. He might have rap flow, but he could be a cap cut here, Tom.
It's funny. The next three guys we're going to discuss had differing points from where we were now to where we were last year. If you had asked me last year, hey, is Cole Beasley going to get cut knowing he's got like a $4 million cap? I'd say no, he's staying back. He was awesome last year. Not the same for this year. He did not produce in the way we're accustomed to seeing Cole Beasley play. He has a $4.25 million cap hit next year. Cowboys can save all but $1 million of that. Can you find $3 million to spend that in a better way? I think you absolutely can. So I think there's a pretty good chance Cole Beasley gets cut. They could try and trade him, though. And if Cole Beasley is cut, that's where you see Ryan Switzer play a bigger role next year for the Cowboys.
All right, three more here. We're going to go to Jason Witten next. All of it could be savable if they were to cut him. I just don't think that's going to happen, though, Tom.
You
don't do that.
No, this is almost a potential cap retirement, is what it is. He will retire as a Dallas Cowboy. He's not going to go anywhere. But Witten did the Cowboys a favor in his contract. It's $6.5 million, and it's all savable going forward. There is no more guaranteed money left on that contract. So when Witten retires, the Cowboys don't have to worry, instead of a Romo, for example, of having a bunch of dead money left on his deal. So I think he's going to come back, and I think everyone's going to say keep him, but I did want to make mention of the way his contract works and how much money is left for him next year.
All right, two more. Here's a pretty realistic one, and that's Tyrone Crawford. A $9.1 million cap hit in 2018. They could save $1.8 million, though. $6 million after June 1. If possible, Tom.
If you had asked me this time last year, I would have said, oh, yeah, Tyrone Crawford is gone. He is not coming back. There is no way the Cowboys retain him. But he was a lot better this year. He played pretty well. He was really good against the run. But you can still save $6 million. He's got a top 20 cap hit for defensive ends, and he's not a pass rusher. He had a handful of sacks last year, a handful of tackles for losses. So I don't think you want to pay a guy $9 million to be a run-stopping defensive end. Right. So he is kind of more on the 50-50 side of things. And if the Cowboys believe that Taco Charlton is ready to take a step forward and effectively replace Tyrone, I think that's where you'll see Crawford get hit. It's not as surefire as it once was, but I think he might be cut. He won't be traded, though. No one wants that contract.
All right, last one here, Tom. $12.5 million could be saved on Dez Bryant's contract post June 1. Don't get too excited, Cowboys fans.
We don't think this is going to happen. Now, maybe something changes.
I'm not saying it should happen either, by the way.
We don't think it's going to happen. 16.5 is a lot, but in the wide receiver market, even if the 12 you save, I mean, look at the contract Alshon Jeffrey got. If Dez got cut, I think he could still get a deal similar to that. And a guy like Sam Hawkins is going to be wildly expensive. So I think in the end, the Cowboys will say, you know what, we could save some money. We still believe in Dez Bryant. Let's give him one more year when the cap savings go up even higher after that. So I think that Dez is going to stay. I get why people want him cut, but I'd be surprised if it happened. Just monitor it, though, as an option. But as of right now, we do not think it will happen.
I saw a couple of comments about moving Dez to tight end.
He's not a tight end. He's not big enough to be a tight end.
Yeah, I don't think
if you want to play him more in the slot, I agree. I think that makes sense, but he's not a tight end.
Yeah.
He can't. He's not a blocker.
No, they need a bigger guy for blocking purposes.